Hello and welcome. In this tutorial, we'll learn how to create and style PDF documents in Python. And first, we'll start with the basic setup and page formatting. So if you have never worked with FPDF before, first you have to call pip install FPDF. And as you can see, my requirement is already satisfied, but you might have to install it. After we have installed it, we import from FPDF, import FPDF, and then we're good to go. First thing we have to do is to create a FPDF object. So we'll type PDF equals FPDF, and that's basically it. We also can, or we have to add pages. So PDF add page. And in order to save our PDF document, we'll have to type PDF output, define a name. Let's call this tutorial PDF. And then we save. And as you can see, we now got our empty PDF file. We'll just split this to right. Go close this so we can see more. And as you can see, or you can't see, but it is like that. The basic formatting is a A4 file. So over here, what is done in the background is basically portrait. Then the measurement unit is millimeter, and the format is A4. You don't have to specify that because this is a standard. So we could also say landscape. And there we go. Now we have it in landscape. We could also change our format to, let's say, A3, where you won't really see a difference here. But what we can also do is to specify our own measurements. So we can type format and then give it a tuple of width and height, or height and width. I'll explain this in a second. So we'll just say 50 and 200. So the first value will always be the shorter side of the document. And so for landscape, that would be the height. So if we let this run, as you can see, the height is 50 and the width is 200. If we change that to portrait again, the first one becomes the width and the second one is the height. So always remember, it is the smaller side that comes first. So we'll just go back to the basic A4. I'll just leave this in for clarification. Next thing I'm going to do is I specify the width and height of the document. So, well, not exactly, this is specified above, but I want the width and height to later place my objects or my text, my circles, everything I want to put into in the right position. So I just like that, having it here. Next one, we will get a basic font. So we'll set the font, pdf.set font, and we'll use Arial. Next one would be style. So is it bold? Is it underline? Is it italic? We'll go with bold. And next one is size. We'll go with 16. We could also add a second page. So when you call add page, everything that is written below will be on that page. And if you type in add page again, everything beneath here will be on the second page. So let's see if this works. There's page 1, there's page 2. So we want to talk about margins as well, and in order to do that, I will just add a cell to each document. You don't have to worry how this works now. We'll cover this in the next chapter, so for now just trust me that this works. So we'll just say page 1, and we'll take our border as well, and then we go here, cell page 2. as well. This is indented for some reason. Height and width. Oh, let's do 60 and 5. I don't know. Yes, 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 yes. And again, there we go. Now we have page 1, page 2. And as I said, we want to talk about margins. So you can see the margin here on a default is 1 centimeter to each side. So if we want to change that, we will go up here, set margins, and the first one will be left, so we'll take 5. Top one will be 5 as well, and left one 5, 2. And as you can see, now it came closer to the corner and also on the second page. We could obviously also do 0, and then it would be right in the corner. So that's it for a basic setup and pages. In this part, we'll learn how to position cells and add text to them. The first way of doing that is a cell, which is a single line text container. So if we want to set up a cell, we simply type PDF cell, and we have to specify a few things, or we can specify a few things. The first one will be the width of the cell, which will take it 60. Then the height will be 7, and our text will be cell 1. And if we print that, we can see this is cell 1. We could do a few more things. The first one is border. And if that equals 1, you will have a border around our cell, which I always recommend in the beginning, because then you know where your cell ends and starts, and you can place items a lot better. You could also change the border to just be at the left side or the right side or top, and obviously also bottom, but we'll just keep this as a 1 now. Next one will be line. What this means is it says where the cursor sets after the function is called. So what I mean by that is we'll just add another few cells. Let's rename them. And border should be, sure, this can be a string. There we go. So as we can see, they're all lined up next to each other. The default value for line is 0. And that says that the cursor starts right behind that cell. So if we want to put the second cell below the first one, we'll type in 1, and this takes the position of the next line. So it puts it on the beginning of the next line. We can also type in 2, and therefore we'll just remove that really quick. 2 means that it starts below. So let's say we want to have cell 3 right below cell 2. So we say in our cell 2 call, line is 2, and then it places it right underneath that. Another way to place cells in the document will be to use dummy cells. So let's say we want to put 3 below 2, but there has to be one line in between. So we just copy that, make this empty, and again say line 2. And as you can see now, there's one in between, and I put the border in so we can see what we've done. If I remove that, this looks like we just switched lines. One thing about width and height of the cells, so I'll just delete all of those. If you don't specify the width, it will go from margin to margin, so this will be the whole line. A few other things you could do is we can also align our text. Let's try center. And as you can see, text is centered. You could also use L for left, which is default value, and right, DR for right. Next, we can also specify a fill. And this is either true or false, but we'll come to that later if we talk about colors. Let's just see what the default is here. Well, yeah, default is black, so this doesn't really do anything for us now. Next one will be link, so we could also specify a link. Let's just use and as we click on it, Google opens on my second screen. Another option to place cells on the document is to set the cursor on a position that we would like. So let's say we want to position something in the middle of the document, and it wouldn't make sense to use, we could use a dummy cell as well, but we could also use the function PDF set xy, and our x will be the middle, so we take height divided by 2, so this is what I did in the beginning. The height of the document is 297, and we just cut that in half, and then we got our cursor in the middle. And the x position, oh no, that was x. X is 0 because we want to be at the left margins, and this will be height here. And if we then add a cell, let's say 65, center cell, and now we are in the center. Next on, we have another container for text, which is a multicell. And as the name suggests, you can use that container to put in multiple lines into one container. So for example, if you import text from a text file, which is exactly what we're doing right now. So we'll stay in the middle of the document. I'll just update that real quick. And the first one we have to do is we have to open our document. So we'll just use open, and my document is called text.txt, and it's read. We'll use, let's call this lines. And then we'll get our text. We specify a separator. Join text. So what this is this reads the line of the document, and this just puts it together into one string. And after that, we can call our multicell function. Multicell. We don't specify a width for now. The height will be 7 as well. It will be text, and we'll also use a border again. So one thing you have to remember is the 7 here is the height of the multicell, but it's not the height of the whole container. So it's just the height of one line in the cell. So the height of one cell in the multicell. And if we use that, we can see here's our text. Again, we can align it center, and we can also specify the width. So right now I specified the width over the whole document, which I don't want to do. Oh, this is interesting. There we go. The margin is not, if you put in the margin 0, it will be no margin. Or if you set x, y, and the x to 0, there will be no margin. So remember that. So as you can see, the multicell goes over the whole document, and our text is or the line breaks in our text are like in the original. For example, if you just put in a long text and your width is not wide enough, let's make this a lot more narrow. It just gives you, or it gives you the line breaks where the cell ends. So you have to check in your document what will work. This doesn't look good. Let's say 200. Yeah, this is not a design class, but you know where I'm going to. And this would be how you position text and multicells. For our next step, let's add a header and footer to our document. The header and footer function are automatically called if you add a page, but in the default setting, these functions are empty. So we have to subclass it and define it ourselves. So what we're going to do, we create a class called FPDF, which gets everything from FPDF. And then we will, whoops, there we go. And then we'll define our header and our footer. So for the header, we will just put in a simple line. First of all, we'll also set a font just to separate that. Let's do underscore here at size 11. And then we add a cell which spreads over the whole width, is 5 high, and this is a header. We align it in the center. And also we'll use a border to see what is going on. And if we press enter and let it run, we'll see we have our header up here. It is underscored, and also it is on every page. The thing we also see is that our cursor is now at the end of the header. So what we previously had with our page 1 and page 2 cell, this is right behind the header. So what we have to do here is we will just set X and Y to, let's say, 10 and 30. Press enter, and now every time the header is called, the XY coordinate is set to 10 and 30, and also here on the second page. For the footer, we will just try to add a page count. So the first one we're going to do is we set Y to -15 so that we have it in the right bottom corner. Over here we will take our page num and self.page number, and in order to put it in there, we later have to convert that to a string, but we'll do that in the cell itself. 0, 10, page num, and this is a string, and we align it to the right. Let that run, and now you can see there's a 1, 2, and so on. If you want the page number displayed or starting at a different page than 1 or the first one, we will just use an if clause where we say if page num is greater than 1, then we'll add our cell. I'll just copy this real quick. And we use page num -1. So if we let that run, As you can see on the first page, there's nothing, and on the second page, it starts with the 1. And this is it for header and footer. So in this part, we'll talk about shapes, and we'll start with a circle or an ellipse. So what we have to do is we type ellipse, and the first one will be the x coordinate of our shape, and the second one the y coordinate. So we'll put this, let's say 50, and y will be 100. And then we specify our width and height. So width will be 60 and height will be 30. Let's draw it. And as you can see, there's our ellipse. And if we want to make a circle, this is obviously height and width will be the same. And there we have our circle. We can further specify how the rendering is styled. So we could also say style. The first option will be draw. So this will have a border like it is now. So this is also the default value. If we type F, this will be filled. Yep, that makes sense. And there we go. Now it is filled. We can also say that it's draw and fill. So right now we can't see it. There's no border. So the border is white or translucent, and we'll just fill it. But we could also say fill and draw, or draw and fill. This makes more sense when we come to color, so we see the difference. Next one will be a rectangle, and this is basically the same. Just type in rect. We'll put this, let's put it, let me think, right next to it. So this is 110. Let's see if this works. No, that doesn't work like that. And then we'll say 50, 50. There we go. And we can also, like before, set the style to, for example, fill. For the next one, we'll look at lines, and this will be a straight line or a dashed line. So PDF line. What we have to specify here is x and y of the beginning and x and y of the end of the line. So I'll start this at, let's say 50, 50, and we'll end it at 100 and 100. And there it is. This is position 50, 50, and this is position 100, 100. Let's get a dashed line. Let's also take, say, 40, 40, and then yeah, this is, I'll just take that one out real quick. Don't want to do math now. So as we can see, it is a dashed line. And on here, we can also set our dash length and the space length. So the first one will be, let's just type it out. Dash length will be, let's say 5. Let's see how this looks. So now, as you can see, the dash became longer, and we can also specify the space length. Let's do 10 here. And now you can see the space between the dashes became larger. And this will be the part about shapes. So let's talk about color. We have 3 different types of color. The first one will be text color, then draw color, and fill color. And we'll just have a look what the different things will do. So first of all, we'll set our text color. Let's use PDF set text color. And this will be RGB values. So we'll take 255.00. So our text will be red. And as you can see, all the text is red now. If you want to change this for different sites or different pages, you have to specify it again on the sector. It should start. So let's go down to that second cell and add 255 here to make it yellow. And as you can see, this is yellow. It's not pretty, but it's yellow. Second one will be draw color. This is everything that has lines, rectangle, and cell borders, and also circles. So let's take pdf.set draw color, and we'll make this is 0. Let's make it blue. And as you can see now, the borders and lines are blue, and same with our ellipse and the rectangle. So as we said in the one before, on our circle we have draw and fill. If we take out fill, we just have our border, and over here we only have the fill, we don't have the border. So we'll try df here. And as you can see now, it's just the border itself. So if we want to fill our shapes, we can use fill color. And this works just as expected. Set fill color, and let's make this green. 55, 0. We have nothing because nothing is filled. Let's start with our cell, for example. Let's set fill to true. And now our cells are colored. But it's just that one. So if we want to have the other one as well, we have to specify fill true. There we go. Same works for our shapes. So let's go to our, where's our rectangle? Well, let's take the circle. So this is now just draw. This is fill. So it's green. And if we type fill and draw, again, it gives us the border and our fill. And same here. I don't know why it's not working. Fill draw. There we go. And this is how you use colors. For our last part, we'll have a look on how to add pictures to our PDF document. So we'll just type PDF image, and the image I'm going to use is in the same folder. So we'll just type in frog JPEG, and then we'll let it run and see what it does. And as you can see, the picture is way too big and it induces line breaks. So we'll specify a width and height. So width will be 50. And the important part here is, and now as you can see, it is 50 wide. You could also specify a height, but if you just type in one number, it automatically calculates the other one to keep the dimensions of the picture. We can also set our position of the picture. Our X position, let's use this as 50. Let's see how it looks like. So it's a little bit more to the right, and if we want to lower it, we'll just use maybe 100. And there we go. Now we can also add a picture to our header. So for example, if this is a company logo, you want it on every page. So we'll just come up to the header and do the same here, self image, and we'll use sun JPEG. And if we let this run, we'll get a lot of error messages. This is because the image is too big for our header. So we will use a width of, let's say, let's use a height. And there's our picture in the header. So now if we want to put the picture next to our text, this is a little, well, we have to do a little workaround. So what we're going to do is we have to set our X and Y again to make it so that it is next to the picture. For this, I will also make the text smaller so the box is not the whole distance. There we go. And now I just want to set XY here, XY, and now we just have to work around a little and try what works. So let's say our margin is 10, the picture is 10 height, so we want to set our X to, let's do 15, and our Y is, let's try 20. A little bit more. There we go. Now we bring it a little bit more up. There we go. Maybe 15. Yeah, so you have to try out, but you get the idea on how this works. So this would be it. I hope this helped.